We are going to start a new chapter today, that is transporting plants. See, the topic tells you, it seems to be a very simple topic, a boring topic, but it is actually a very interesting topic. Transporting plants. In this video, I'll just be giving you an introduction of what we are going to study in this chapter. See beta, you must be wondering at times how the water which is absorbed by the roots of a plant reaches even the top leaves or the top tips of a plant. You have seen very huge plants, you have seen very tall plants, and you must be even amazed to feel that see water is being absorbed where under the ground from the roots, and where is it reaching? It is reaching many feet high plants at the tips also. Now, what are the substances which have to be transported? And are these substances transported on their own, or it is some push which is needed for the transport of these substances? Another thing which must be coming to your mind is some kind of energy spent when this movement takes place, or transport of one substance or water or mineral transport takes place from one place to other. So there are certain things which come in our mind: how water reaches the top part of the leaves, what are the substances which are transported, are they transported on their own, or there is a push which is needed for them. That means, do we have to spend some energy? Does the plant have to spend some energy in this movement, or the substances move on their own? You must have also wondered, see, we know that the food is produced in the leaves, and this food which is produced in the leaves, it reaches to all parts of the plant, even to the root tips which are under the ground, which are under the soil. So this is amazing that the food which is being prepared in the leaves which are above the soil at a certain height, this food which is prepared in these leaves, it of course reaches all the parts. It even reaches the tips of the roots which are under the soil. Now we need to find out in this chapter what is the movement of the substances, which substances are transported in a plant. If we talk in general about flowering plants, beta, then water, mineral nutrients, organic nutrients, and plant growth regulators. These are the things which have to be transported. So mainly four things are transported when we talk about flowering plants. Basically, water, mineral nutrients, organic nutrients, and of course the plant growth regulators. Now this movement of these substances, whether it is a movement of water, whether it is a movement of mineral nutrients or organic nutrients or the growth regulators, it could be across small distances. Small distances, very small distances, the transport has to take place. Then the substances of course move by diffusion. However, sometimes cytoplasmic streaming, the cytoplasm pushes them. So this is how the substances move if they have to move across very small distances. But if the transport is over larger distances or longer distances, then your vascular system comes into role. What is this vascular system? Of course the xylem and the phloem. So if it is small distances, it's normal diffusion or cytoplasmic pushing or cytoplasmic streaming. But if it is larger distances, then you have your vascular system, that is a proper xylem and a phloem. And this movement of this transport, you know, is what we call as translocation. So translocation basically is the transport over long distances. Now, what is very important is the direction of transport. Transport is no doubt interesting in a plant, but the most interesting part of transport in the plant is the direction of the transport. Let's talk about rooted plants, beta. We know that the transport in xylem, we know what is transported in xylem. What is it which travels in xylem? It is the water and the minerals. So this water and these minerals, they are absorbed by the roots and they are absorbed from the soil. So when we talk about the transport in xylem, that is the transport of water and the minerals, it is always from the roots to the stems. That means we can say that the movement is unidirectional. The transport in xylem is always unidirectional, because what is transported in xylem? Water and minerals, and they are always transported from the roots to the stems. So the transport in xylem is always unidirectional. But let us think about the compounds that are produced in leaves. The leaves may be at an intermediate height in a plant, it may be at lower part, or it may be at the topmost height. So these compounds which are produced in the leaves, they are transported to all the parts of a plant. And very interesting thing to remember is that whatever compounds are produced in the leaves, they are not only being transported to all parts of the plant, they are also being shifted to some storage organs. We have certain organs which store this extra food or extra compound which have been prepared in the leaves. And then later in the plant re-transported from the storage organs again to the part of the plant where they are needed. So there is so much of transport which is taking place. In the xylem, water and minerals are moving from the root to the stems. From the leaves, the food which is being prepared or the compound which are being prepared are transported to all parts. They are also being transported, extra part is being transported to the storage organs, and from storage organs are again being transported when needed to other parts of the plant. Mineral nutrients, we know that the mineral nutrients are always absorbed by the roots and then they are transported to the stems or the leaves. That means the mineral nutrient movement is always through the roots towards the stem and the leaves. Also remember that if any part of a plant has undergone senescence, senescence is the age after maturity when a small cell almost it is at the stage of dying or it has lost the capacity to divide or reproduce or the growth capacity is gone. That is the senescent stage, the post-reproductive stage. That is the senescent phase. Then what does the plant do? All the nutrients are withdrawn from the senescent part and they are shifted towards the growing regions of the plant. See how scientifically this transport is going on in a plant. Now the senescent part or the senescent part of a plant does not need so much of nutrients. So automatically when a plant observes that a particular part of a plant has undergone senescence, then nutrients are immediately withdrawn from such regions and they are transported to the growing regions, which could of course be in any direction. Now, hormones are also transported, although they are transported in a very small amount, but hormones are also transported in a plant. We know that hormones are not synthesized everywhere, so they may be synthesized in one part of a plant and they may be needed in another part of a plant. So hormones are also synthesized and transported from one part of the plant to the other part. So much of movement is taking place, so many substances are being transported and they are being transported in different ways, they are being transported in different directions. They could be unidirectional, they could be bidirectional, they could be multidirectional. So many things are being transported. Water is being transported, mineral nutrients, organic nutrients, plant growth regulators. So the conclusion is that the traffic in a plant is very complex. Traffic in a plant is very complex, but thankfully it is not like the traffic on Indian roads. It is very organized, it is very systematic. There is no traffic jam, although we have a lot of traffic. So many things are being transported and they are being transported from one part to the other at different times, from one region to the other. So we can see in very simple language that the traffic though is complex, but it is very organized. The traffic, the transportation in plants is very complex, but it is very organized. Now in this chapter, we are going to study about all the introduction which I have given you, how things happen, how this unidirectional movement takes place, how multidirectional movement takes place, whether the substances move on their own or some substances actually need some energy to be pushing them or to transport them from one place to another. We will also study how these cells are transported within the cell. Sometimes what happens is within the same cell, substance has to move from one part of the cell to the other part of the cell. And we will also study how substances move from one cell to the other cell in a tissue. So this is another kind of a transport that you find in a plant. Sometimes within the same cell, substances move from one part of the cell to the other part of the cell. And at other times, the substance move from one cell to the other cell in a tissue. Okay? To the neighboring cells in a tissue. So there are so many kinds of substances, there are so many kinds of movements. We are going to study this, how they are transported to longer distances, how they are transported to smaller distances, what substance is being transported, in what manner, does it involve the expense of energy or not. This is all we are going to study in this chapter, transport in plants. So let's move on to the next video where we start getting into the proper chapter.